Hey there everybody, Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter from CarterMatt.com.
This video is our reaction to The Circle, episode 3. There is The Circle, this is the third episode.
This is going to happen every video.
It feels that way at this point, but that's okay because we're all having fun here, right? We're enjoying ourselves. We're not having to play awkward Ask Me Anything games or go into what feels like this show is slowly turning into Tinder.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weirdness in this episode, but also a lot of fun. And victory for nerds everywhere. Shuby has ascended to the top. Shuby is feeling himself right now, as he should be. But before we do anything else, if you enjoy this video, give us a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other updates. Has there been a more joyous experience on reality TV as of late than seeing Shuby attain to the top of the ladder?
I was really excited to see Shuby there, and I'm excited to see Chris there too.
Yeah.
I like him as well. It's nice to have a group of people where there are so many people I can actually say, man, I really like this person. I really like this person. This person's really great. And still have drama going on in the house and still like a lot of people. That's not normal on a reality show. Normally it's you have a couple of really horrible people that nobody likes and everybody's ganging up on, everybody wants out, and it's not really like that here.
No, it's not. It really feels like there's a lot of people who you can like, and even you can like both people involved in a fight, and you don't have to pick a side, which is kind of nice. And you know what? My observation about Shuby and Chris being at the top at the moment after episode 3 is that I feel like in episode 1, a lot of the choices were a little bit more superficial. And I feel like now everyone sort of knows each other, and now it's sort of like, these are the two people who I think people in the house feel, or whatever you want to call this place, feel like they're the most genuine of the group.
Yeah, the first elimination in any type of show or whatever is always the hardest because nobody really knows anybody, and it is all kind of superficial. Even Antonio when he was saying to Joey in the last episode, man, you've known this girl for a day?
Yeah.
So maybe the time in this show really is just, oh, this all happened in 24 hours or 2 days or whatever it was. It wasn't a very long time to make these decisions. So now we are getting into the good stuff where people are starting to really get to know each other and relationships are forming. Unlikely friendships like Shuby and Joey that I had no idea was going to come out of the face mask honesty talk that happened in the last episode. I'm living for this relationship. It's so cute.
I'm going to be honest, I'm worried about this relationship. And
I love it.
I like them together. They're a fun odd couple, but I feel like this is one of those sort of relationships where I think Shuby is way more into Joey than Joey is into Shuby. And I think this could come back to bite Shuby in the butt a little bit because I feel like Shuby, and I say this as a nerdy guy who had problems talking to women for a very long time in my life, I feel like he's kind of gravitating to Joey because he's probably used to talking to a lot of guys his age. And I think Joey is someone who's used to talking with a lot of women through a lot of his life, and I feel like Shuby's going to put a lot of stock in this relationship, and I worry it's going to come back to hurt him later.
And I don't think so. I think especially even when Shuby won, and he was one of the top influencers, you could see it felt very genuine that Joey was not just, oh, I'm safe. It was like, yeah, my guy, Shuby, good for you. You deserve this, because he was clearly very like, yeah, Antonio, you deserve to be on the bottom, screw you kind of thing. So I just feel that it's genuine on both sides. I think Joey really actually likes him. I don't think he's using him. The only thing I would worry about is if one of the girls really gave Joey the time of day, would he run the bus over Shuby for a girl? Yes, but it doesn't feel like any of the women that are there are interested in Joey, and in some ways it kind of feels like he's not really interested in any of them.
I think that's my fear, though. I think my fear is that we're in like a final 3 of Joey, Shuby, and someone else, and let's say if this woman flirts with Joey the right way, Joey will jump ship from Shuby. But I think Shuby in that situation would take Joey to the final 2 in the blink of an eye, based on what we've seen.
I think it just depends on how long it's going to be before a woman comes into the house that can catch Joey's eye or heart.
Yeah.
If there's a long enough time that Joey and Shuby can continue to build this bromance into something just feels very genuine, because they both feel very genuine and they've both revealed to each other that they're very genuine.
Yeah.
So I feel that, a girl could cause that problem, but it depends on how late in the game she comes in.
If I was to, like, incept myself into Shuby's head here for a second and give him some advice, I think he needs to build an alliance with Sammy. And I think that is someone who he could go really far in this game with that no one would really expect. And I kind of like the fact that they were distant from each other for a long time. And I think he was intimidated by her. And I think she probably wasn't sure how to relate to him. But, their conversation in this episode where Shuby kind of mirrors how I feel like I feel like I sort of judged Sammy in the early going and thought, I'm not going to like her. And I really like her now. And now I like these two together. Can we call it Shabam? I'm trying to think of a good alliance name. It's not working.
Sabam?
Yeah, it's too... their names are too similar. They both start with an S.
I really like that they came together as well, and I find that I'm gravitating towards the people who are either very genuine with each other or very genuine with me.
Yeah.
So some of the catfishes, like Karen, who are being very honest with me, almost like the Big Brother players that would go into the diary room, and while they're lying to everybody else, they're being honest with me, or having live feed conversations that are really stripped away together with me and making me feel like I'm part of this. And Karen's giving me that experience. But with Shuby, I feel like he's starting to put himself in a really good spot. He's got Joey. That conversation that him and Sammy had was very genuine. And they both sort of feel... That catfish question that was asked to Sammy that kind of threw her off. And then him jumping in and having that backup of her to be like, you know what? I really messed that up. I should have had your back. I feel that you are who you say you are. Having that extra person in his corner, having just a couple people. It doesn't have to be everybody, but someone who's been an influencer like Sammy, now he has been, and someone like Joey, this is a good match for Shuby.
I think he set himself up really well right now, and I think because he's so likable and he's kind of an underdog, I don't think he's going to be immediately targeted because he's an influencer. I will say this about Chris, though. I said in the first episode that I think Chris is an enormous threat, and I still feel like Chris is an enormous threat because he's got such an energy about him where I feel like Chris could sell me on anything. I feel like he is so charismatic. I am not shocked remotely that he is number one or tied.
Yeah, and the cool thing about Chris and this charisma that he has is that he could send anybody home and people will still like him. Chris could easily win this game unless somebody gets a hold of this and is like, okay, everybody likes Chris. I can see him in the group chat, laughing, joking. Everybody's laughing with him. He's a problem, and it's strange that no one has picked up on that because everybody's under his influence. He's just so likable and fun to be around and great energy. You don't want to get rid of Chris, which means that you should get rid of Chris.
You need to toss him out of this circle.
Oh, he's gotta go.
So fast.
Yeah.
But, all right, so now our cliffhanger at the end of episode 3, which isn't really that much of a cliffhanger, but Chris and Shuby, they must come together and figure out who to block or boot out of the circle. Do you have a guess?
Yeah, my guess feels that it's going to be Antonio, and he just doesn't really have a good or close relationship with either of them. I mean, we've seen Karen working her magic with Chris, and him even saying or them both saying if they were outside the house, this is someone that they would be friends with. So she's going to be safe. Shuby's got his relationship going on with Seaburn, so that's going on. So he's going to be safe, and I think with Sammy, now she's going to be safe. Joey's going to be safe. Miranda's not even on the board. Yeah. It just feels like Antonio's really the one that neither one of them have anything with. He hasn't worked that angle. So I just see an Antonio leave situation coming up.
It's just kind of like a process of elimination, really, where it's just sort of like there aren't a lot of other choices that make sense because we already know, the people who Chris is working closely with, sort of. We know the people who, Shuby's working closely with at this point. We know who they both like. I just feel like this is a compromise choice. They can both agree on it. And really, Antonio doesn't have anybody to blame other than Antonio. And I think he's not going to see this coming because Antonio is a big fan of Antonio's game. Like, he really feels he's got it all sort of figured out.
Yeah, he's feeling himself.
I think his problem is that, and I mean, he's obviously been fairly successful in life and in athletics and all this other sort of stuff. I think he's used to doing well, and I think he probably is not able to get a really good read on how he's coming across to other people.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting if Antonio goes home. Because if he goes home with Shuby being an influencer, he thinks he has some kind of relationship with Shuby.
Yeah.
So when he's allowed to come back to see somebody, I see him coming to give Shuby a visit.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be an interesting visit if that happens, because I think Antonio's going to have all sorts of questions. But let's talk specifically about that moment that I think is what got Antonio into even more trouble. Mm-hmm. They're doing Ask Me Anything, which is not apparently a Reddit thread this time. It's actually something that's happening on the Circle, and everyone gets to anonymously put a question out there to someone.
It got dark fast.
It did get dark fast.
Everybody started getting real shady quick.
And the question to Antonio was basically, name your alliance, which, by the way, there's no good answer to that. Like, it's
No, there isn't. And in some ways, he answered it the best way that he can to basically say, I'm not going to tell you. If I'm in an alliance, it's an alliance.
It's just that sort of thing where it's just, if you don't know how to relay it properly, and I don't think he relayed it as well as he could have, but I don't know what the right way to relay that would have been, because I think you would just sort of have to say something like, yeah, I've had conversations with people, but those are between the people who I'm working with, because I wouldn't want to do anything to hurt them. Like,
yeah, or he could just say, I'm in an alliance with myself. I'm here to win. Do I have friendships with people? Absolutely. I'm having a fun time. Am I in an alliance with someone? Yeah, me.
And
there are ways to answer it without coming across the way you did. And I know everyone wanted to be like, oh yeah, I'm in alliance with fill in the blank here, but they all should have expected none of them would answer the question that way either. So in some ways, you gotta cut them some slack.
Yeah. I mean, I don't...
Do you think anyone would have answered that to be like, oh yeah, me and Shuby, we're working together?
Probably not. I mean, I think it's just such a delicate question to figure out how to answer. Because, yeah, there are times where you can be honest, where you can say, like we saw with our with Mercedes, aka Karen, that she's willing to say, oh yeah, me and Miranda talked, and those are good times to be honest, because you don't know what the other person is going to do.
Oh, she made the absolute right move. Karen is playing such a good game. I love her. She's playing, to me, one of the best games there. I know Chris is definitely playing an amazing game. He doesn't even really have to make an alliance. People just love him. Yeah. But Karen's playing a really good game. She's very smart. And the thing that I also like about her that I'm not really noticing anyone else doing is she's actually writing down everything that she's either saying, what other people are saying, what her conversations are. She's here to win this money.
And she's doing it, I think a part of it is because she's playing a character and she's not being herself. I think that's like added pressure. So you got to get your story straight. You can't mix anything up, and I think it's so smart of her to do this. It's weird in a way because I feel like the two catfishes are both actually doing really, really well right now.
The two catfishes have given them an advantage that the other people don't have.
Yeah, our old pal Seaburn here is Rebecca. I loved how he answered the question about shyness because he sort of held on to... I don't know if his Rebecca actually is a twin or not, but I think just putting that out there, it's the sort of fact that he said so instantly that people will believe it and not really question it all that much.
Except for Antonio, who called BS on it right away. Yeah, he was just like, this is just... It feels like it's not genuine.
Yeah, but I think Tony was just cranky by the end of this game.
He was, but it was interesting that anybody called that out as not genuine.
Yeah, I think it came across as genuine.
I think so too.
If I was in the house, I would have bought in to see a burn in that moment, and
yeah.
I just like where he is on the board too. Like number 3 and number 4, which is where our catfishes are right now. It's like you're not popular enough to be influencers, but you're also not popular enough to be threats.
Yeah, and both of them do have good relationships going on in the house. Like, nobody doesn't trust them. Nobody dislikes them. People really like them. Like, they're doing a very, very good job.
Yeah.
The people that I'm a little bit worried about are people like Sammy a little bit. Not this week because she did have a good conversation with Shuby, but it feels like Miranda calling her out as a catfish, that was so bad. Miranda is really bad at this game. She's made a couple of really, really just questionable moves where I was just kind of like, what is happening? And this game is all social, so her social skills are just not there. She's not reading the room.
Yeah, I sympathize with Miranda's position of being the newbie in the house. With that being said, Miranda is terrible at this game. Like, I have not seen a single move that she's made that I thought was great, because even she lucked out in a way with Mercedes, where she went in with kind of this flirtatious angle, and she got lucky that Mercedes was kind of receptive to that and willing to play along, because that's really risky to be flirty early on.
And then she goes into a chat with the other girls and pulls the same thing and then basically pulls the rug out from under them. And I really felt Sammy when she was saying, you know, how is this okay? Like, this just feels really off, and she's not wrong.
No, messing around with the idea of sexuality when there are people who have, you know, very, very clear ideas of who they are, and they tackle these emotions, and you know, you can get hurt in situations like this. I think you need to be a little bit clear cut, and I think her going in and sort of suggesting that she's one way and then being like, oh, you know, I'm mostly into guys.
It was real weird. Like, it just felt like she just sabotaged herself, and I don't really understand where she was going with that. Was she trying to just feel out how the girls felt about stuff like this, where they landed? She didn't have to add that last part. That last part felt strange.
Like, it felt too much like she was just fishing rather than swimming with the fish, and I think you want to be swimming with the fish in the circle and just make everyone sort of get to know you. And she was just very aggressive. I don't know if a part of that is, I'm new to this, I don't know what I'm doing yet, these people all know each other, I have to go in hot.
Yeah, because she was sitting back being like, hey, I think I'm doing really well with this, but she struck at Sammy twice by doing that, and then coming for her in this Ask Me Anything party, being like, hey, so I think you're a catfish. Of course, then Sammy's gonna be like, what, me? If she was a catfish, it's already bad. Now you've just blown up her game. If you're not a catfish, you've just blown up her game in that way too, because now you've got a whole group of people that are now going to be questioning, is Sammy a catfish? And that really hurts her.
The funniest thing about all of this to me is that the whole Ask Me Anything thing, the point of it is to be anonymous. Somebody else just threw out things about Catfish, and you just went ahead and throw your name onto it at the same time, Miranda. It's like, nobody told you had to do that. This is not what this game is.
Yeah, she must be... I wondered, I don't think so, I think she's a terrible player.
Yeah.
But I kind of had wondered if maybe she just decided to poke that bear to see if there's anyone else out there that maybe doesn't like Sammy that she can get on board with. Nobody came to Sammy's defense. Nobody said she's not a catfish or she's genuine, or nobody said anything.
Yeah.
So even though I think Miranda's just a terrible player, she did get some information out of that.
She got a little bit, and I think she also should be thanking the Circle Gods at the moment that she is not up for elimination at this very moment, because I feel like Miranda would be right there with Antonio in the battle to see who gets kicked out of here first.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't seem like she's even built that many relationships with people yet.
No, not really.
Let's talk about a funny observation from this episode. Why did they randomly get to be on the spa now in the roof? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if it's is it like prison time where it's like, okay, you get
Yeah.
noon, you get 1, you get 2, you get 3 in the afternoon. Everybody gets a little bit of afternoon time.
Yeah.
It was strange that Joey's up on the roof and Chris is like, "You're on the roof?" So he didn't even know
Yeah.
that this is an option.
Well, we've apparently learned there are random parts of the circle that are like unexplored, like caverns. We have apparently there was a gym that Antonio was in earlier this season where he was like on a treadmill or something.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was just in his apartment, if he said, "Hey, listen, I'm a basketball player and I need to, this is something I need in my apartment if I'm going to play this game."
I want to see them now in other random places. Can we have like a racquetball court where someone is playing racquetball with themselves?
Well, this is the thing that I was thinking about. I know it was Joey up there and he's not thinking ahead of anything, but I was kind of wondering, because they are getting paper and pen, if they are able to leave notes or do something, messages for other players up on the roof, because everybody has to have an opportunity to go up onto the roof.
I have a really evil idea.
Let's hear it.
I don't know if I should say it.
Well, you're not playing.
Well, okay, it's 21 minutes into this video anyway. All right, I'll go ahead and say it. So, what if you could do this? And then if Antonio sticks around, we know how he feels about Joey, right? What if you go up there and write on the note, Joey peed in the jacuzzi, and then everyone's just mad at Joey, they can't use the jacuzzi now, Joey gets eliminated from the circle.
Oh my goodness.
Sabotage!
It is a good thing we're 21 minutes into this video.
Yeah, this is also going to be the...
This is for the 5 of you that are still watching us.
Okay, this is the mole spinoff where you have a mole who's now sabotaging people within the circle as well, but I love this show. I love that it's so demented that I'm allowed to be able to say this in a video. All right, well, we will conclude episode 3 in our discussion of this, but let us know, are you guys as happy for Shuby as we are for Shuby?
And Chris. I love Chris.
Yeah, Chris too. And also, who do you think is going? Let us know in the comments, and if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the Cartomat store, and we'll see you here next time.